Wednesday, May 12th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, anime that Scott fell asleep watching.
Let's do this. All right, I don't know if I discussed this, but I ordered a new laptop. Because the one I have, I mean, it's awesome. It has served me well. It's still pretty great, but, you know, it's kind of old core solo. I guess it's more Monday stuff, but whatever. The point is I ordered a new one. And I also ordered, of course, an extra power adapter and a little, you know, zippery sleeve to put it in, like you do. And so Lenovo's totally a cock tease. They haven't finished putting together the laptop yet because I customized all the parts, got the SSD and everything. But they shipped me the sleeve and the extra power adapter. They showed up today at work. So, you know, that's cool because I won't have to worry about signing for it when I'm not at home. But the thing is, right, I take the sleeve and I put it in my laptop bag.
Yep.
It sort of sticks out about a couple inches, you know, because this thing is like a 10.2 inch sort of widescreen. But the laptop I got is like a 12-inch square-ish screen.
See, that's the trouble. It's like it's an ultra portable technically, but it's still bigger than like the tiny laptops that we really like. You know, what I want is I'm willing to pay for it. A crazy powerful laptop that is the size of a netbook.
Yeah, the thing is, right, so what am I going to do about this bag? I can't get a new bag. This bag is like the awesome. But
you could get the bigger version of that bag.
But that's too big. And I'm not going to replace this bag.
You gotta find some
custom bag.
Gotta find some other custom place that makes bags and get them to make like a hand-tailored...
I don't want to get another custom bag to replace my expensive custom bag that is in perfect working order.
You could go ultra custom. Find like a tailor, you know, someone who makes bags and be like, look, I want you to make me a bag for me to carry this list of items. Here are the items.
I don't know.
You know, spend like $1,000 and get like the perfect...
Okay, and then what happens? Right, I get another laptop a few years from now.
You got money and you do the whole thing again.
No, I'm not buying a new bag every time I buy a laptop.
Never buy another laptop.
Yeah, anyway.
So that was your day? That was your excitingness?
That was just annoying that I put this, I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't close my bag all the way, really, sort of.
Yep. Not really a Wednesday thing either, but I just bought an Xbox.
All right.
Basically,
you can watch some animes on it, I guess.
It's a Street Fighter 4 machine.
Oh, there's some other stuff. We'll play some Tecmo Bowl.
We will.
We can play Castle Crashers remote.
I mean, my policy is still going to be anytime there's a game that I could get on the Xbox, that I could also get on the PC. And if I don't care about not being able to play with Xbox people on the PC, 100%.
Really? See, my policy is similar. However, my policy is this. I will get the game for Xbox if it is a game I want to play with controllers on the TV. I will get the game on the PC if it's a game I want to play with a mouse and a keyboard.
The thing is, even if I get a game on the PC, I'm going to have an HD PC that's fast enough to play my Steam games. And I got a USB thing.
The thing is, the HD PC I have is, fast enough. The thing is, right, take this for example, okay? So Street Fighter 4, right?
Yep.
The home theater PC can totally do it. The thing is the home theater PC wants to do a vertical sync at 1080 by, 1080p at 60 hertz.
Yeah.
Right? The Xbox to the 1080p doesn't do 60 hertz, but it vertical syncs at a lower hertz, right? So
just get a more powerful HD PC.
No, the thing is the HD PC, right? The graphics that it makes at 60 hertz are way better than the ones the 360 makes because it's so much more powerful. But I can't get it to vertical sync at a lower hertz because then I had to get the TV to go to a lower, vertical refresh rate, and that doesn't happen.
I'm sure you could come up with something, but I guess...
the problem is that it looks better when I play Street Fighter 4 on the PC, but it gets a little bit because there's no vertical sync and you get the scan lines.
Well, I think the operative point
But if I play on the 360, it's just perfect, but the graphics are less quality.
The operative point there is just that with an HD PC, there's a little more fiddling involved in everything, and you'll never get it just working like an Xbox will.
Yeah. The other thing is that most of the games that I can play on the TV, right, with the Xbox, the multiplayer action is going to be on Xbox Live and not as much on Games for Windows Live.
Yeah, however, you're not going to play a Civ 5 on an Xbox. If it'll even be on, I don't think it'll be on the Xbox. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Supreme Commander's on there. I can't imagine how that works.
No, see, yeah, I would never buy that for
Or like Left 4 Dead. All my coworkers have Left 4 Dead. I would have played with them. They all have it on the Xbox.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I just can't imagine that. But it's Wednesday, and we're not going to review it yet because obviously it's still coming out. But I'm watching the Durara. It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's all right.
I've kind of blown. I think I
finished watching Captain Harlock. I'm now watching that 13 episode co-production with PBS, The Phoenix.
Oh,
the Tezuka Phoenix. Yeah, I forgot. I just didn't watch it so I'm watching it now.
That had a good opener, I recall. Like I like the opener.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know. Durara, we'll do a show on it as soon as it's all out because obviously there's some sort of twist coming at the end. Like some big thing's gonna happen.
Watch, nothing happens.
Yeah, it just kind of stops.
That would be cool.
I don't know. You were right, though. One, Scott predicted something. We're not going to spoil anything that I did not predict. I realized it probably, 2 minutes before in the course of the show. It was revealed straight up.
I predicted it in episode 2.
Yeah, that was one of those meta predictions like me and Alex's D&D games. He introduces the character, and I'm like, that guy's clearly the whole villain for this whole campaign Alex wrote.
I don't know.
But there is some news. Scott's going to tell me that this is old news because he knew about it, but I didn't know. I don't pay attention to Philly Wizard World or, well, I guess Star Wizard World.
Basically, Wizard World, right, is, Wizard Magazine, which is, right? They had some conventions and they reworked them and they rescheduled them.
No. Wizard World conventions are comic conventions in the older school sense. So they seem to be trying to appeal to the demographic that goes to like SDCC in that they bring like movie actors and kind of all these ancillary pop culture things just to try to get a bunch of bodies there. But the majority of the bodies there, other than those kind of pop culture people who get sucked in, are dudes looking for Silver Age fucking Spider-Man, and that is all they want. They got their little roly-wheelie bag filled with all the
Some of them are looking
had.
for the new Green Lantern-ish shit that they love, those nerds.
Yeah, but the same kind of people. They're going primarily to buy comics and pay for autographs.
Yep. So anyway, these conventions, like they kept reworking them and moving them, and they closed some in some cities and opened up in other cities and whatever, and they keep doing a whole bunch of stuff. And basically their new strategy, which is not so new, 'cause Rim just discovered it recently, is that they basically, when there's a big comic convention in town, they have their comic convention at the same day, same weekend as the big one. And their logic is, okay, if we just have
Scott, we're talking about Comic Cons. You could have said same bat time, same bat place.
Okay, whatever. So
you could have.
Their strategy here, right? You think that's a stupid strategy. Who's going to go to their convention, right? If there's another better, bigger one in town. And the thing is, okay, so let's say the New York Comic Con, right? A ton of people show up for that shit, especially since it's now combined with the New York Anime Festival and it's a mega double con. Alrighty. So now, if they just had it on their own weekend in New York, some people would show up, maybe. But if they have it on that weekend, that bigger convention is so big, it's drawing people from a wider geographical area to come into New York. Those people wouldn't come into New York from Massachusetts or Pennsylvania for the Wizard Con. But
especially because there's a Wizard Con probably near them at some other point in the year.
Maybe, but even if not, it's not a big enough con to draw from such a large area. It would pretty much only draw the Manhattan nerds, right? So, or the New York City nerds, and maybe maybe some Northern Jersey nerds too, right? But if this is bigger con in town that draws this big geographical area worth of people into the city, and there happens to be another nerd con down the road that is within, 5-10 minute walking distance, they're hoping that they can actually get more people to come to their con than would otherwise, because the mega nerds will go to both cons. Now, and they get a few key guests to go to their con instead of the New York Comic Con or whatever the other con in town happens to be in the other city that they're doing this in. And, I just got to go see this guest, so I'll go buy a badge to the other con also.
Now, I don't see this working so well, at least in this New York situation, because one, we couldn't figure out. I actually looked on the map to see where the hell this thing was. The only convention center in New York City is the Javits, which is not... It's big. It's one of those convention centers that can only be used for gigantic events. And it's the kind of thing that the New York Auto Show is in there, giant show floors, tens and tens and tens and thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people over the course of a weekend, big iron, big deal stuff. Where the hell are they going to have their Comic-Con? And apparently they're 20 blocks north of the Javits at
I thought
some
they were
pier.
10, 15 blocks
It's
north.
Well, it depends on where you count the Javits. The Javits spans many blocks. But it is at 50-somethingth Street at Pier F, Uptown, which isn't that far. It's probably a 20-minute walk.
Yeah, it's not there's no crosstown action. It's just straight north, basically.
However, it's straight north through an area of Manhattan that, for those of you who aren't from New York...
It's basically empty.
There aren't even hobos out there, nor are there pigeons.
Yeah,
because there's nothing for the pigeons to
It's
eat.
basically just a concrete walk.
There's nothing. There's no transit.
You're lucky if there's a street vendor. There's usually one outside the Javits, but
So anime
I think there's a
con
Mercedes-Benz
goers,
dealer over there.
so anime con goers, generally more energetic, running around.
They're not going to the Wizard Con.
They're not going anywhere near that thing. There's probably nothing in the world
But
that
the
can
comic
convince them to
nerd
go in there.
guys, they might go up there.
Here's the trouble with
Especially
the
if there's a
comic nerd
guest they
guys.
want to see up there.
Comic nerd guys, one, at least demographically, I don't think have that much money. I don't know if they're going to pay $50 to get into 2 conventions.
It's weird. I think that there's like a huge spread in terms of how much money the comic people have, right? It's like you get some people, it's like they love comics so much, but they have very little money. So every month they just buy Spider-Man for like $4 and that's it. And then there's the guys who are like, here's 20 G's, give me that Silver Surfer #1. Oh yeah. Oh shit, the quality is not high enough. I need to trade up. I will sell you this Silver Surfer for #1 and give you $5,000 for that mint-er condition Silver Surfer #1. Those guys exist, right?
Yep.
So
the thing is,
I will
either
pay
way,
$500 for my con badge, so it's a VIP badge, so I can skip all the lines.
yeah, I think they both have that sort of stuff going on. But
Yeah.
the tricky part is, without transit, short of taking a cab, a stereotypical comic book guy. Now, there are exceptions,
Is
but
fat,
a stereotypical one
might be carrying a lot of comic books.
is not going to make it to that other con, let alone back.
They might
So-
do one side. If these people are just the kind of people who are diving in the bins to buy stuff, they're not going to the panels. They're not doing all the other stuff, right? They go to one, they hit up all the bins Friday. They go to the other one, hit all the bins Saturday.
And then they go home.
Then maybe they hit them both on Sunday. Maybe they go home. Who knows?
See, now, if Wizard World were smart, I don't want to give them good ideas because I'll be pretty much straight up. We're in the New York Comic Con, New York Anime Festival camp at this point. We're going to be there at both, same day and everything, doing a bunch of panels, all the kind of stuff we usually do. It's read expositions. We work with them on stuff all the time.
Expositions.
So we're not going anywhere near Wizard World. And I guess unless they let us in free and they send us a car or something. I don't know.
No, why would I go there?
If I were them, I would set up and pay for a shuttle. And I'd get a dealer's table at the ReadCon and basically be
But they could refuse to give them the table.
they could. I don't know if they would.
And also the Javits union's law rules, they might not be allowed to have a shuttle to go to a competing event like that.
Yeah, well, I would set the shuttle up, on the public street right there. You can do that with New York City.
I guess you could.
I would set something up, have a shuttle back and forth all day.
You could probably rent the Chinatown bus, make them do it.
And what I would do is I would offer to Nick Nyath. They probably wouldn't accept it, but then I would just do it anyone my own. Anyone who comes to my con, WizardCon, with a New York Anime Festival Comic Con badge gets 50% off the badge.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
You're basically it's like, hey, we'll make a, Leech Con. It's like, well, there's nothing, let's just make a Leech event. It's like if there's a music concert and I have a concert that has nothing to do with them an hour before that concert starts, and I say, if you got tickets to the big concert, you can get into my concert for $1,
What's funny is that this is the sort of thing that unnamed staff at certain anime conventions we work with will say, Reed, they always say, yeah, Reed's trying to destroy us. They always try to steal all our stuff and steal our secrets as to how to run, poorly managed cons. But
yeah, they want your secret so bad.
the AnimeCon staff are so afraid of Reed, and yet Reed doesn't do the shady stuff. It's Wizard World doing the shady stuff.
Yeah, but Wizard World is not something to be afraid of.
No, because we went to Philly Wizard World, and let me tell you.
Many years ago.
I walked around trying to interview people at that thing, and it was amazing. One, people were afraid of the microphone, or even without the microphone, I started hiding it because when I had it out or my press badge, people would stay away from me. But if I hit it and I just talked to a random person, they seemed aghast that I had said anything to them. And the only person who consented to be interviewed basically talked at length about how they were there to buy Silver Age Spider-Man. They had a list of Silver Age Spider-Man comics they needed. They spent all day looking for them, and then they went home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different experience. But yeah, I'll take this opportunity to point out that the New York Anime Festival Comic Con is October 7th, 8th, and 9th. 8th, 9th, and 10th in New York City, Manhattan. We'll be there if you want to see us. We'll be doing awesome stuff. And now that we live in the city, we will probably be able to hang out pretty late and not, any of you who tried to see us at the New York Anime Festival last year might have remembered that we appeared did our panels, and then like the wind.
Yep.
None of that anymore. We're going to be there all 3 days.
Yep. Okay. So,
Scott, how's that anime industry doing?
Oh, it's doing just as well as it's always been doing for the past X years, which is terribly. But
God,
actually,
what was it, like 2002 when the anime boom was?
well, actually, this isn't anime. This is manga related. So Viz has laid off 60 people. They closed their New York branch, which is 5 people. They laid off 55 people at their headquarters in San Francisco, and we've determined they have 90 people remaining. All right. So actually, that's pretty impressive to have 90 people. Right? That's a lot of people to have.
What do they need those 90 people for is what I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, Viz does publish a lot of stuff, and they said, and this is from the Animated News Network, obviously, be assured Viz Media remains connected to its obligations to you. They have no plans this time for drastic measures, such as product cancellations or business line closures. Your favorite series are not going away. So as long as they finish like 20th Century Boys and Bokurano, it's all good, right? I mean, you reading anything else from Viz?
What's so sad is that 4Kids reported, I think, $3.5 million in losses.
Well, that's because 4Kids mostly made their money by getting shows like, One Piece or whatever, getting them on TV.
And butchering
And nobody's putting them on TV anymore. So, of course, why did 4Kids... I'm surprised they're still in business.
I know. But
what business are they doing?
What amazes me is, all right, $3.5 million in losses. What the fuck are they doing? With $3.5 million, I could have made an entire company and put out an anime.
Yeah, what are they spending that money on? I mean...
Well,
Jesus.
they got 12 properties now, and they're having
How many of those are on TV?
They're going to put them all on TV. They have a new TV block, and they're basically spending all this money for... Here's my non-educated, non-insider, personal opinion, not based on anything I may know secret or whatever. I think 4Kids is going to have this last gasp, and then they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't someone going to buy them or something?
They said recently that they have a buyer possibly lined up, or that someone expressed interest in buying them. I think they're on the way out. I think they're done.
Dude, 12... What are... If I, if I just had the money that they lost, which means that they had it and spent it, right? Because you can't have a loss if you didn't have the money to begin with, right? So if I had $3.5 million and I had to basically be in the anime business, I could buy one anime that was guaranteed to be a hit, market it, make it a hit, and make a profit. And then I would just repeat over and over again. And how could I fail at that? I know what shows are going to be a hit.
Also, look at the industry.
I would just buy Dura. I win.
If I was running one of these, anime companies or manga companies, which I still believe the main reason there are so many problems in this so-called industry is that by and large, everyone involved in it is just terribly unprofessional. Like, surprisingly so. But why do they need all these employees? I would have the tiniest footprint ever, and I would literally outsource everything. I'd have a shell company, couple of employees, doing sales and all the kind of basic stuff. And every time we wanted a new property, we'd get it. And then I would basically contract people to translate. If I needed to dub, I'd contract people to dub. It would be nothing but contracts.
If you're Viz, right? So Viz, 90 people. That's what we're talking about, right?
Yep.
So Viz does manga. Okay. So first, I basically need someone to go and get the licenses to things. But
So
Viz
maybe-
doesn't need that because Viz basically has a lock on the licenses,
Even
right?
if you needed that, get a 10-person team plus a lawyer, and that's it.
Right. So, okay. So you get the licenses, which Viz already has.
Yep.
You need translating. You need printing. You need marketing. And then you need to actually...
Everything but marketing, you can just contract out every time you have a new property. There's no reason keeping people around.
The quality doesn't matter. The only thing you need quality on is like the book cover designs and stuff like that. So you hire one or two awesome designers, and everything else, like... Okay, yes, you should have high-quality translations. You're going to sell the same number with or without. Let's be honest here, right? As long as the translation's good enough.
Small staff, you keep a head of translations. You basically keep one or two awesome people for each division or each part of the business process, and they're the ones who oversee the contract.
You have
work.
one HR person who's also the office manager.
Yep.
And what else? I mean, what do you need? An accountant? You could probably run it with less than 20 people, the whole thing.
I think so. I think easily so.
And outsource everything else for wicked cheap.
Yeah. And you wouldn't
get some interns up in.
You might not necessarily be super profitable, but I think you could have a business that
You'd make more money than they're making because you'd have less employees.
I wouldn't lose $3.5 million a
no,
quarter.
4Kids is the one with $3.5 million. We're talking about Viz. You're getting them mixed up here. You can't be doing that. Right?
How much money is Viz making, though?
We don't know.
Yeah, that's the other problem. None of these companies are public.
Yeah, well, that's how it is.
So, things of the day. What do you got for me, Scott?
It's just this funky animation called Love and Theft. It's 7 minutes long, and it's just so freaking funky and awesome. And you should watch it. Probably, it's like a much better thing if you watch it like full screen or like on your TV full screen or something. Just because the way it is, if you watch it in a little YouTube window, it won't be quite as cool. So it's just an animation. It's fun. I like it. That's it.
Well, I'm glad you have something good because this isn't the best thing in the world, but I think it's cool because I would actually like to see this just for the sense of scale. A life-size bust of Ava 01 was made in Japan or is in the process of being made at some amusement park near Mount Fuji. Mm-hmm. And it's basically that scene where Shinji, sees Ava 1 for the first time. And it's life-size, but only the top of it. And I don't know, I think that's pretty cool.
That's all right.
I got nothing else.
There's a big thing going on over there. It's weird. It's like they can't get people to watch, wasn't like Mike Toole talking about this in Anime Boston? How like they can't get people to watch animes. But then again, there's like this huge nostalgia, right? So when they make a big life-size Gundam statue, like a zillion people show up.
Yep, if they build stuff about the old
anime. But nobody
anime.
goes on TV to watch anything, I don't know.
Of course, is it not the same way in America? Look, 26,000 nerds will go to Otakon, including us, and have an awesome time, but none of those people buy or watch anime.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the
hardly.
general public goes to see the giant Gundam robot.
Yep.
But the same general public, they might have memories of Gundam, but they're not watching new Gundam 00, right?
Of course, Gundam 00 wasn't that good.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I watched the first one episode and I wasn't impressed. I mean, the thing is...
I watched the first one episode and it was Gundam. I mean, it wasn't...
Yeah, well, it's tricky because the first 4 episodes of any Gundam are the same thing. Yeah, so before we get on to the main bit, we got the meta moment that we forget to do every now and then.
But we're remembering now quite often.
Book club is still Cosmos. The coding club is still Project Dorf, and I imagine will be for a while. We're going to be at the New York Comic Con, New York Anime Festival. We're going to be at PAX East, PAX West.
Kineticon.
Yep, Kineticon.
Okay.
There's not much else going on right now.
That's all I got.
That's it?
Oh, there's the Ustream is happening.
All right, yeah. Well, we should probably talk
happening
about
like
that.
this second.
Yeah, we're streaming the video of us doing the show live, mostly as a promotional tool. I'll tell you straight up.
The reason it's a promotional tool is because people who go to Ustream hopefully will, see, oh, Geeknights is live now, and maybe some new people who don't know about us will find us on Ustream. That's pretty much the idea.
Yeah, it's literally just a camera from a different angle every now and then showing the studio and how we actually record the show. So it's a lot like watching Howard Stern. He sits there, there's a microphone in his face.
Yep.
It's not exciting to watch, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you bother with it. I guess the only thing it really has going is that, one, there is the chat room, so I guess you could talk to other listeners about it if you wanted to in real time.
You also see a few minutes of stuff that doesn't make the show. So
yep, like when we stop recording and do stuff, and when we try to figure out what to do the show on, usually get to see what I wore to work.
Right.
That's exciting, I guess.
Okay.
Right now you can see the fact that the door on the closet in the studio fell, and it's kind of hanging there.
Yeah, so you pay so much money for this apartment, they can't even have doors that work.
Yeah, well, the thing is, and people in apartments like this, from what I can tell, actually tend to take all the fixtures out and put them in storage, buy their own fancy fixtures, and install them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cheap. I didn't bother with that. So I have the plain white generic fixtures.
Anyway.
Yep. So back to the show. We were trying to come up with something to review. I mean, Scott's watching a bunch of anime. I'm watching a bunch, but we haven't both finished an anime together recently. And Durara's not done yet. So I don't want to talk about it now. I mean, for all I know.
We don't want to do repeat shows.
There's a tiny chance it's going to pull a Gonzo.
Maybe. But anyway, the thing is that I said, hey, we should do a show because we watched a ton of anime back in the day. Right, tons.
We're talking RIT days when we would
even older than that too. But we watched a ton of anime back in the day, and we really never did shows on most of it because, mostly because we haven't rewatched it, so we barely remember it. So there's not that much to say about them, and at the same time, we
well, basically These were shows that we liked back in the day, but I forgot that I had watched. In fact, I forgot they existed because, I'm so hard up for anime now. I mean, there's good anime like Durara, and there's old good stuff I haven't finished yet like Hokuto no Ken. But while I'm watching all of those, I'll totally forget about a show like Saber fucking Marionette J.
I just remembered it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, and basically...
Don't ask me what I remember about it. I remember that it's a show and it exists.
So we didn't know what to do the show on. We're like, what anime have we both watched? Maybe we should do a show on like some anime that we haven't finished yet. I don't know. And then I was thinking about Coup. And then I thought about anime that we haven't watched in a long time. And suddenly, when you have a memory and you tug on that little string and suddenly you remember all these things that just weren't in your mind until that second.
So if we only have like 1 minute worth of stuff to talk about any individual one of these shows, let's just remember a whole bunch of these old shows and then we can make one show about all of them together because there's no way we're going to rewatch all these things.
So a disclaimer, we may or may not have remembered these shows as being good. That was a long time ago.
They may not be good now.
In fact, I don't remember the characters' names from half of these shows.
I don't remember hardly anything.
Which is scary because some of them I watched almost all the way through.
That's scary.
Are we going to be this way with like Hokuto no Ken 20 years from now?
No.
No?
No.
Maybe these shows really weren't that good as a result.
I don't know.
What's weird is some of these shows, now that I remember them, were stupidly popular at the anime club. Back in the RIT days. And like everyone was marathoning them and everyone talked about them all the time. And I don't remember shit about them.
I barely I remember like the barest of details about any of these things, but I can still probably talk for about each one for a few minutes.
I think it's almost, there's like this curve where a show that is great, like you remember forever, and it's like at the top of your queue. And then on the far end, shows that are really bad, like Odin, are so bad, or
that
shows,
you don't forget them,
or shows like Fist of the North Star that are so bad and so good simultaneously that they're better than good. Mm-hmm. Like all those shows are kind of like around this crater, like in the rim. They're very high up, very
rim?
memorable. RIM, like the rim of the crater.
Uh-huh.
So
the rim of job.
Yeah, that was a clever joke right there you had coming out. That was fantastic. I think you could have made a better joke. You should have made a goatee joke. Rim's crater is so gaping.
It was a slam dunk.
Of course, it's a slam dunk. It's so big.
I broke the rim. It was such a dunk. Okay.
So everything around the rim of this crater is awesome or memorable in some way. Most memorable. But then in the middle are all the shows that you watch just because everyone else is watching it. I mean, I remember this whole era of anime when I'm trying to remember the name, Rave Master and all that stuff was coming out.
That was later on. That was like the Full Metal Panic days.
Yeah, but those, Rave Master was not a good show, but everyone was watching it for some reason. It had a cute
Rave Master. It was a kid with a big sword that looked like Final Fantasy VII, and he had this cute monster friend, and the first episode was like, hey, there's something going on here, and it was a little bit cute and funny, so I watched 10 episodes, and then at the 10th episode, I was like, what? This fight has been going on for 7 episodes.
That was back before we could tell that a show was just a fighting show.
I didn't even realize it because I was just sitting there watching these short, and I was like, oh shit, what the fuck is this show? I'm done with this.
Naruto did that to us. I was like, this is awesome. This is
4
awesome.
episodes of Naruto. Awesome ninja school. This is so hilarious.
But took me
the most funny ninja school ever.
It took me 10 episodes.
Episode 13 of Naruto. That fight against the guy with the big sword just lasted 10 episodes. I've been watching one fight ever since episode 6. Done with this.
Yep. So these are not obscure shows. They're just shows that I don't know if too many people remember. And I imagine it would be harder to find some of these than it would to be finding really old, really obscure stuff like Candy.
The difficulty of finding these varies greatly.
Yes.
All right.
We got to start right up, though, with one that is actually, as far as I can tell, difficult to find. I never actually saw it, but Coup.
So in the RIT Anime Club, right, they had a library of VHS tapes, and we have found that they are in good hands because we met the newest librarian of the RIT Anime Club at was it Anime Boston or PAX?
It was.
It's the same building, so I have a hard time remembering.
Anime Boston.
It was Anime Boston. So we met him there, and we figured everything out with him, and it's in good hands. Scott Johnson, no worries. And basically, he had, like me, gone through the library and watched some of these old classic tapes that, basically no one knew what the hell they were. You pick up a tape and it says something on it, like Horus, Prince of Sun. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
It says something about the culture of a club like that. I mean, it's, I see other anime clubs, but I got to say, the RIT Anime Club, like, the culture was there. Because as a freshman, I'd go up to the library and I'd pick up a weird tape and it says something weird on it, like KO Century Beast.
And no one knows what it is.
But I look at it, but
and there was no Anime News Network encyclopedia to look it up either.
But the old guard, like the e-board, even if they didn't know what a show was, and I did this when I was the president, like if I saw a kid standing there who picks up a tape and I have no idea what the show is, I'd look at it and be like, oh, you should watch that. Even if I couldn't see what the tape was. And people did that to me all the time. I picked up KO Century Beast, and the librarian at the time was like, that's an old classic. Nobody in this club has seen that. You should watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'd seen it or not.
Okay, so I found it on Anime News Network, right? And it's called Ku, Tui Umi Kara Kitaku.
Cool.
Right? Yes, it's a movie directed by Tetsuo Imazawa. It's from the year 1993.
Wow, that's newer than I would have guessed.
Yeah, it's hard. They actually have a screenshot, a picture from it, which is kind of amazing. And it also seems like there's a movie called Summer Days with Ku about like a kid with a kappa named Ku. I don't know if it's I don't know. It's a 2007 movie. I don't know if it's related to the original in any way whatsoever.
I think of the entire crew, it's funny because you fell asleep through a lot of anime.
Well, because what would happen is you'd watch one in like the lounge at night, and we'd all be laying, around watching anime, and I would just fall asleep.
Yep. Because I did that a couple of times, but did you just watch Ku by yourself? Because I don't think I ever saw it.
I watched it by myself on VHS.
I did that with all the Slayers OAVs back then.
But basically, Ku, right, for those of you who don't know, which is probably almost all of you, right, is this really old anime from 1993. It's a movie, that's it. And basically, this movie is Free Willy, the movie. I'm going to look up the year. Free Willy was also 1993. I wonder, right? But I don't know. Anyway, so basically what it was about is it was this kid who finds basically the Loch Ness Monster. It's like a cute little baby sea dinosaur. It's got, like flippers in front, but a long neck. So it looks like, one of those sea dinosaurs. You know what I'm talking about.
All right.
I don't know. I forget the name of that dinosaur. If any paleontologist would like to hook me up with the name of the, the oceany dinosaurs that have the flippers, but the long necks, right? Like the non-existent brontosaurus.
Anyway. It's
one of those. It's a sea monster. He finds it when it's a baby. I think it sort of grows up, and the movie is about like setting it free, right? And he lives in a tropical island. There's not too many people around. He discovers it. He befriends it, sets it free, the whole, right? Guys come looking for it. It's kind of an E.T. Free Willy situation. And it's actually a really high-quality movie that is pretty much completely unknown. I remember it being, like, surprisingly good. Better than Free Willy, right? But
I never saw Free Willy.
it's the same thing, only better. And I don't know where you can possibly watch this. Good luck finding a fan sub.
We're working on it.
Good luck.
We'll get it out there. If anyone can get it out there, we can do it.
The only copy that I know of is at the RIT Anime Club on the VHS tape.
We're going to do something about that. I got a VCR right over there.
Yeah, so that's that.
I remember, let's just go right down this list. Surprisingly, this is a bad one. I mean, you all know Odin because Daryl Surratt masterfully keeps reminding everyone that movie exists when we really should just kill everyone involved.
I think it's because they keep reminding everyone of Odin because of the niche, right?
True. But I feel like we'd be better off if we just killed everyone involved who had knowledge of it and just buried it, and that was the end.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason Gray Digital Target is not worse than Odin is because Odin is like 80 hours long.
Yeah. So Great Digital Target, that's another one. We just saw it in the library. We picked it up and we watched it, right? And usually when we watch stuff, like, there wasn't much that was bad. Everything tended to either be okay, average, good, mildly entertaining, right? There wasn't anything that we would all be like, oh, God, this is terrible. Turn it off.
Plus, we were watching anime kind of always. Like, every Saturday, we'd all get together. We had a pile of, 10 tapes. We'd pick something.
Not even on Saturday. Like, just during the week, we'd be.
Well, Saturdays were the days we'd, play D&D for 4 hours, and then we'd watch anime, and then we'd always watch, one show, and then it'd be, 1 in the morning or something. We'd be like, all right.
That's why I was asleep during
Let's watch another show. And no one ever remembered what that second show was.
No. But, we watched Great Digital Target, which is a movie. And it's a sci-fi about a dude, and I'm going completely on memory here, right? There was some evil empire that had like a big tower of machinery that was evil and ruling the world.
And this guy was
and he had to go
target.
He was the digital target, and he had to fight it. And he had a friend who was like a robot torso.
He wasn't a torso the whole time. He got
and
broken.
There was a woman.
So here's what this movie is about.
And I don't know what's up with the
It is a
woman, but
movie
I think you see her boobs once.
with a guy who is like a cool kind of hip normal guy. Like, well, he's basically the protagonist type. And a girl randomly becomes naked and just hanging out with him. And then not too long later, there's a robot who is a torso,
and this is
one
all,
arm, and a face is somehow climbing a cliff.
That happens at the end. Everything in the movie is really quiet and slow, except the robot who actually talks more.
As far as I can tell, nothing fucking happens in this movie. And it is notable primarily for the fact that it's building up to the so-called climax. They're going to go fight the tower. Literally. Freeze frame. The freeze frame starts to like shake, and text appears that says 5 minutes later, the signal stopped coming out of the tower, and then the credits roll.
Yeah, like basically the dude goes to the tower, right? And there's no cool action scene of getting into the tower, fighting anything in there. It's basically just like he goes to the tower. It shows you a picture of him going to the tower.
If it was me, or if it was our friend Pete, or if it was Alex, maybe it was Greg, but someone at the end said what we all felt, which was, what the fuck was that bullshit?
Yeah, there's basically no ending. It's just like, here's a picture of the bad guy's lair. Okay, and then some text scrolls by, and there's a picture of some fire, and they don't tell you if he lived or died. They don't tell you. There's no animation. There's no nothing.
I guess, like, in our culture, like,
it
our front row crew
ends.
in college, Great Digital Target was, to all of us, what Odin is now to the greater anime community. Because we had all seen, many of us, Odin, but we had all mercifully seen the sci-fi cut. Cuts what, like 2 hours out of that movie?
Yeah, I mean there is a manga for Great Digital Target that I've seen in some places.
I have it somewhere.
Do you? Yeah,
I bought it and the MD Geist manga.
Let me see if it's up on that shelf there. I'm trying to look with my eyeballs.
I think it's
so
in a
far
box.
Away. Oh, okay. Yeah, have you read it? I mean, what's the deal? Oh.
I don't even know if I still have it. I might have given it away.
Possibly. But anyway, Great Digital Target, like before we knew about things like Odin, like that was our go-to example of bad anime.
Yep. Of course, not to be outdone by Legend of Lenmir, which I can't remember much about it except there were boobs all over.
Yeah, well, there's Legend of Lemnir and Legend of Crystania, and all I remember about either one
they both sucked.
Was that they were both really shitty fantasy OAV/movies, I guess. I don't even remember. And they were just generic fantasy crap with boobs that really reminded me of that, big boob fantasy art you see at like different conventions.
It's always like the big-breasted woman straddling a sword that itself
with a
is on a snake.
chainmail bikini.
Yeah,
right. And basically that's all I remember about both of those. My memory could be completely inaccurate, but that's all I remember.
But I think right around that
Crystania.
time, I think what had happened is we at some point saw Bastard.
So Bastard, oh man, that's a sort of one that's like so forgotten.
But it's so fucking awesome.
It is. It's quite awesome. So Bastard is a fantasy anime, and it's one of those situations where it's like the bad guy is the good guy, right? It's like there's all kinds of evil demons, and there's one evil demon who is like the fighting for the good guys, but he's still bad. But he's he's fighting against all the other bad guys. So the good guys are with him. And the thing that immediately hooked us on Bastard, right, besides the fact that it was called Bastard, and besides the fact that there were funny jokes, and also the same kind of boobage you get in Crystania and Lemnir, was that the name of everything was a metal reference.
Metallicana.
Yeah, Metallicana and Thraxia. Every single thing in the show was named after some 80s metal band.
It's good stuff.
And
I think, as I recall, it's actually a good show. Like, it's worth watching.
Yeah. So, Bastard, like, there's a manga, too. I don't know how much of that, if any, is out in English or how hard it would be to get the Bastard anime.
I didn't even watch all of it. I think I fell asleep. We watched, like, a bit of it, and then I
remember watching, like, multiple, it was episodes. It was either an OAV or a show.
But we were watching it
But I watched less than 5 of them.
I think we all watched,
Bastard,
like, the first...
complete collection on Amazon, $60.
I'd pay like 20
Bastard
or 30.
Volume 19, $10. So there's at least 19 volumes in English.
You sure it's not the manga?
Yeah, the manga, 19 volumes, but the complete collection on DVD, $60.
I'm pretty sure what happened with Bastard.
Complete VHS box set, $13.
I think we watched, like the crew watched the first bit of it, like one tape, and then like half of us watched more individually on our own.
Mm-hmm.
Bastard and Berserk. We watched both of those, and then I think we were looking for more stuff
there's
like
at
it.
least 20 manga volumes out in English.
But I think we were looking for more stuff like Bastard and Berserk, and then we got fucked by Legend of Lenmir and all that.
Yeah. But if I go watch Legend of Lemnir today, maybe it'll be good. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I have this feeling.
All right. So we're coming up on some of the things I don't remember as much here.
Yeah, well, Gokudo, I don't know if you listeners, let us know. Have you ever heard of or seen Gokudo? It's a Slayer's like, but everyone's jerks, especially the main character. And I just remember it being really, really freaking funny.
Yeah. There was something like, I remember Gokudo was like a show, and like there were the DVDs for it were everywhere. Like someone had printed a whole bunch of DVDs for it and tried to sell it, and I don't think anyone bought it. But we watched it at some point, and like the early episodes are wicked funny.
We got about halfway through it. Like it's the kind of thing where the main character doesn't want to do the magic thing where him and his brother have to combine their swords.
I don't even remember. All I remember is there was a funny genie and some other funny characters.
Oh, the genie's awesome. So is the Sphinx.
Yeah, the
Remember
Sphinx.
her?
Yeah, there was just like these funny characters.
She was kind of cute too.
Doing funny stuff, catchy opening and ending music.
And
And it was a comedic fantasy show, and that's all I remember. But we started watching it, and then we stopped watching it.
I think at one point the demon guy's like, Gokudo, I'll make you king for your soul. And he's like, can I just give you that guy's soul? And he's like, I don't think it works that way. You know what? Why not? Let's go for it.
Yeah, but it was just a show like that.
That was the show where he eats the soul. He's just like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I always thought that Akamako was from that show instead of KO Beast, because the soul eating and the sort of comedic demonish stuff.
Not to be confused with Soul Eater.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, Gokudo, they printed so many DVDs. I can't imagine. It's got to be cheap to get them all.
I don't remember when it came out. I think we were watching it like circa 2004 because we went to Luke's house all the time. Remember? We watched it with him and Gabby.
Yeah, someone's got to go and like resurrect that show, but not like for reals. Just someone get all the DVDs.
Dude, put it on Crunchyroll. I'm sure people would watch it.
Maybe it is on Crunchyroll.
If it is, I'll watch it again.
I don't know.
After I finish Dorara.
The thing is, I never watched that many episodes of it, but people told me that towards the end, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And it loses what it had.
I heard that too. Of course, I don't know if this is obscure or not, but I think it's obscure now again. Dragon Half. There's a manga.
Do you want to tell the story of Dragon Half, which is probably true?
I don't think we should because I got to research that because I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it was mostly just hearsay that.
So what the rumor was back at RIT.
I searched. Okay, there.
Was that there was a manga, Dragon Half, and the guy who made it got in trouble for some sort of perverted thing, and then the manga stopped. But they made an anime about it, but the anime only covers the first bit of the manga.
Yeah.
But
basically, the anime's 2 episodes, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I think that show's hilarious.
It is. I don't know what the manga's about. I think I heard the manga's more perverted, and that doesn't surprise me with the story of the guy being perverted. But the anime is significantly less perverted and is really hilarious. Even though there's only 2 episodes, it's really funny. It's about this girl whose mom's a dragon and her
dad's the knight who went to slay the dragon.
Her dad's a knigget, and then funny shit happens.
They got it on.
Yeah.
Dragons are all cute. There's so many like jokes I can make about the show, but it's so short. I can't spoil it for you. Just watch it. And
it's got the bad guys, a little slime jelly things.
Oh my god, dude, slime half. There's a reference to about Dragon Half for any of you. You know, this is old anime stuff with Slayers and Joy Rock. So in the Slayers movie, in the dub, they make a reference to a slime half, which is actually a reference to Dragon Half because there is a slime half in Dragon Half.
Yeah.
It's just great. And watch the closing animation.
Yeah. The closing animation is the win. Not that the opening animation is bad either.
So let's go way back to before I was at RIT. I was an anime fan. I'd already watched everything in Blockbuster, except they added a tape, and it was called The Lensman.
You know, I can't even remember anything about the Lensman anime other than we joked about it a lot. But
So
I actually read a lot of the Lensman books relatively recently, like a year or few ago.
It was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and I watched it. And all I remember is that it was sci-fi, and then I fell asleep. And I woke up, and he was flying with the green guy through this crazy scene, and then the movie ended. And I missed, I guess, all the plots. I had no idea what happened, and they never showed it again.
And meanwhile, Pete had the tape too, right? So it's like we weren't alone. Like Lensman was like within our group. I had like multiple people who knew about it and had it.
There was a weird
We
point
have the
later.
tape around here somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
I got the tape later in my life.
Wherever
Right?
do you have a VCR?
I was at a Blockbuster, and
I can
wanted,
see the tape from where I'm sitting.
I wanted, yeah, it's right over there. I wanted to see it again. And I was looking for it with my mom at like a Blockbuster sale. And this anime nerd was there. You know, I'd never run into an anime fan other than myself before. And, you know, my crew of people. And he was like, the Lensman is difficult to get because there was a problem with the licensing and it was pulled from the shelves. So if you find a VHS tape, it's actually valuable.
I'm sure.
And I was like, fuck. So I'd forgotten about it. And then we watched it again at RIT. And I fell asleep at some point, and I woke up.
I don't remember ever watching it at RIT.
I don't know if you were there, but we watched it.
Like, I remember certain things that we tried to watch them and I fell asleep, right? For example, like, I think we tried to watch Kodocha and I fell asleep.
Yep.
And certain Lupin movies, I fell asleep.
Yep.
But I don't remember ever trying.
Lupin movies are dangerous to fall asleep
I don't
during.
remember ever watching or falling asleep during.
But the last time I fell asleep during a Lupin movie, it was normal Lupin action. I fall asleep. I wake up, and there is a brain in a rocket, like a gigantic brain.
So that was Mamo.
Flying out into space.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't fall asleep during Lupin movies. I don't think you were there, but I remember us watching Lensman, and all I know is that I fell asleep, and I woke up during the same fucking scene where he's flying with the green guy through some crazy scene, and then it ended. And I still don't know what happened.
That's the
in
other
that
thing is,
movie.
why did I always wake up at the end of things miraculously somehow?
Maybe because the energy of the room, you know, those old movies always played that kind of early 90s synthesizer rock.
What would have happened if everyone fell asleep during the movie?
We just wake up like 4 hours later, there's static on the TV.
The next day.
That would have been awful. I'm so glad that never happened. Imagine this. It's Sunday night where it's like 4 a.m. We're watching some anime and you just wake up. You don't know what time it is. You're probably late for class. There's just static on the TV.
Everyone else is still there, sleeping.
You don't even remember what you watched.
Everyone fell asleep during it. That never happened.
No, luckily.
Yeah.
But for the grace of God went we. But yeah, Kodocha. We watched the summary movie as far as I can tell. And I
fell asleep during it. Because it wasn't, I mean, I've seen a lot of clips from Kodocha and it seems like it's a totally hilarious.
No, you fell asleep because it was 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's a totally hilarious, silly kind of show. I kind of actually want to go back and see if I can watch it again.
Yeah.
But I fell asleep the one time we actually watched it, so I don't remember shit.
It was like that and Kimiguri Orange Road and Marmalade Boy.
Well, those are a lot of the shoujos that the people who were running the club before we got there were big fans of those, those shoujo series. So they had them all in the library. I never really attempted to watch them, but I think you did, right? There wasn't like Please Save My Earth was another one.
Oh my God, Please Save My... I both loved and hated Please Save My Earth when I watched it. Like, I was fascinated by it, but I couldn't figure out if it was good. But yeah, no one in the crew watched that but me back then. Yeah. And like Marmalade Boy and KOR especially were really, really popular like in the club, but I don't think they were that popular outside of the club in America.
Yeah, you don't hear anyone mentioning Kimigori Orange Road or Marmalade Boy, right? You hear more mentions of Touch than you hear of those shows.
Yep, except you hear about those shows in the club and among the people in our crew who like know shoujo. Like Lara remembers all those shows.
It seems like it's like just the people that were like, networkingly close to us, right? And spread out from the RT like know those shows, but no one else.
Wow, you reminded me about Please Save My Earth. That came out of nowhere. That was the show where... So here's the plot of Please Save My Earth, because it's a really cool idea, right? You got a bunch of people, and they all have weird... Like, individually, have weird dreams all the time. And one of them puts an ad, like, in the newspaper, like, hey, do you have dreams about this? And, like, this group of people, because of this ad, come together, and none of them knew each other, but they all realize that they're all having the exact same dreams. And the dreams involve, like, a future past and a base on the moon. And, they do some telescoping, and they see the fucking base on the moon.
So the base on the moon is giving them dreams about itself?
They had a past life of some kind. They have all these memories of it, and it could just be a hallucination or something crazy, but then they find kind of real evidence that, no, something really happened. Mm-hmm. And that is a cool premise, I think, for a show. It goes way off the deep end from there, and I have no
'Cause
idea.
that sounds like a cool premise. I didn't even know that and what the show was about until just now.
We should watch it again. I got it somewhere. I got a VHS tape of it. I'm
Well,
sure.
the thing is, you've already told me the premise, so what do I need to watch it for?
'Cause
like
it
discovering. I think the awesome part of the show would be discovering. Oh shit, you actually did have a secret past. The end.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that. And there was a radio drama
But
later.
it goes off
and-
the deep end.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's just because the anime was like compressing and then stopped.
Was there a manga?
I don't know, but there's a radio drama. I
Okay.
don't know anything about the show except that it had a really good
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of shows that like they were just constantly like I kept seeing the shows or seeing characters from the shows when we were in the anime club, but I never watched them or knew anything about them, like Saber J and such. Right?
Saber J was kind of like a poor man's Tenchi. It has a bullshit ending. Like,
I didn't watch it. I didn't even know.
imagine a show that does.
How about like Cat Girl Nuku Nuku or
Oh man, I actually
Video Girl
So-
I
Video Girl I was really
or
popular.
not DNA Angel, but
DNA Squared.
DNA Squared.
Adam fucking loves that show.
Yeah.
It was cute. Or Birdie the Mighty, but I think after Gerald reviewed it, I think it had a resurgence.
Yeah, they had a sequel even.
Yeah,
A recent
I
remake.
really like the sequel. Actually,
I haven't watched it.
it's worth watching. It's really fun.
yeah.
But oh god, so see what happened? Suddenly remembering all these shows that I'd completely forgotten about. But Saber J has just the bullshittest ending ever. Imagine an ending where the entire plot point involves some huge sacrifice. All right, and then in the credits, just undo that for no reason. Just undo all the sacrifice, but keep the rest.
Yeah. Oh man, I mean, there's even shows that were like, more recent than that. You think no one would forget them, like Great Teacher Onizuka, but that show's been forgotten, right?
Yeah.
Who's remembering that? No one's talking about that
Plus,
now.
like Video Girl I was popular as far as I can tell. Like it seemed really popular at anime cons, but no one I know has ever actually watched more than like a few minutes of it. I've never actually watched it, but it seems like everyone I met at cons knew what it was. Now no one at cons knows what it is.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to keep going here?
I don't know. We can wrap this
my
up.
My memory is starting. I'm trying to like picture like the sea of tapes and like to remember individual things.
There's that SMAP concert we had on tape.
Oh yeah, no, I did mention earlier in the show Horus Prince of Sun. If
Yep.
you can find Horus Prince of the Sun, it might also be Holus Prince of Sun. Basically, this is an old Toei movie, and like Miyazaki worked on it. He didn't direct it, but he worked on it. And it's like you can think of it sort of as like the first Miyazaki work, because you can see a lot in common between it and the things he did later. And it does show its age. It's an old, oldly styled animated thing. But I really liked it when I watched it. I kind of really want to watch it again. It's, that quiet, watch it at night kind of thing. It's pretty awesome. I wish they would release a DVD. Like, they don't have to release a DVD of just that, but they should,
Nah.
take that and package it with a bunch of other things all together,
That's not a bad idea,
like
actually.
Horror's Prince of Sun and a bunch of other similarly old Toei movies all together on one disc. That would be pretty cool.
I think a lot of the shows we talked about would do really well on Crunchyroll.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know so much about things like Marmalade Boy. I don't know if the demographic is there anymore.
I don't think so.
It's hard to say, though.
Let's see, which one of these could do well? I think
Dragon Half would be like a one-shot like wonder if it was just on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it might be hard to just sell the 2 episodes.
No,
I think
just put it for free, and then people would like get really
I think
into
if you
it.
did a remake of Bastard that removed the porniness but kept the awesome hilarity metal references,
Yep.
I think that you could definitely do some Kodo-cha sort of remarketing to get that out there, polish it up.
I think Kimaguri Orange Road could be redone,
I think
too.
Coup could be sold as a movie if you, right, something like that.
Easily. Great Digital Target would probably burn really,
the rest
really well.
of these, I think, pretty much have no marketable value.
It depends. Gokudo is one thing where I think if you put it on Crunchyroll, it would get popular among the people who like things like Slayers.
It's hard, though. How many,
The thing is, Slayers should also be on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, Slayer should be on Crunchyroll. You're right.
I think it would cause a whole resurgence of that kind of anime, actually. In America, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know, we're petering out. Let's just kick it off right here and kick it under.
We're done.
Kick it out. Hey, Devil Doll. I think it's time to kick it. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.